Welcome back to the Growth House Podcast. I am here with Alex Shapiro. Alex, appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, man. This is an honor. I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Absolutely. And everyone always asks me, like, how do I find these amazing people and then get to interview them on the podcast? I believe I saw you at Gerardo's podcast. Is that correct?
That's right.
And then Gerardo, amazing guy out here in Arizona, has a cleaning company, Airbnbs, and he's a real estate agent, great guy. And so when I heard your story, I'm like, man, I've heard of Camel. Like everyone uses you guys. So for the audience that doesn't know you, kind of paint the picture. Who is Alex? And then what does, life and business look like right now?
Yes. So I'm Alex Shapiro. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Camel. Camel automates trash day. We are the first to create the category can to curb, and we're a big need in the short-term rental Airbnb space, where we help hosts and owners take their trash recycling cans to the curb day before pickup. We take photos, timestamp them. They're saved in your client dashboard. Return the next day. Return the can back to the original location. Take a photo, saved in your dashboard. So we make sure that people who maybe have a property in another state, not really sure how they're going to be able to do that. Maybe they have cleaners that are there to take their cans to the curb that day, but who's going back the next day to return it. Sometimes trash recycling is on different days, so you're there 4 times a week, 16 times a month. It's one of those weekly tedious tasks that people don't really know. And so once they hear about a solution like ours, if they don't have one, like you do it with yours, it's kind of like a no-brainer where it's like, you know what, let me try that out. And once they try it out and realize that weekly scheduling of, are you going to be at that property that day? Is there going to be a guest there? I got to feel anxious and asking if they are okay doing it. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You just set it up. It's a monthly reoccurring fee. And that's essentially what we do. And now I run that company and fully. I got 4 kids at home. I'm married. I got, so I'm in the muck of it, and the family life and the startup life.
I love it. And if you have HOAs, you definitely need some Cam Monkey because they'll get on your ass about anything, and especially if you're one day late on leaving that trash out. So Alex, when was the company founded, and then where is it at now in terms of, how many properties you guys serve and maybe how many states?
Yeah, so Camel was founded in 2018 for going after homeowners in North Scottsdale. And it was an idea that my business partner had. He didn't like doing it himself. He figured some of his neighbors didn't like doing it. They would get signed up, that he could have his son take the cans to the curb and back and, see how far it would, kind of get. And after getting a Airbnb property on and adding on, a dozen some properties, and he realizing that, no, this is a good need. That's where I kind of came in that point and was like, look, I'm entitled in escrow. I know some of these investors, some of these people that have these properties. You do the operations, you make sure the cans get to the curb and back, and then let me see like how many I can build, and get on. And I was already entitled in escrow at that time, and I was in sales. So it kind of like, worked well. Like I'm already meeting some of these people. And so if they ever needed anything, it's like, hey, I got this, guy over here that can help you with your trash cans. And so now fast forward to 2024, active properties, we have 4,600 on the platform. On the platform total, it's about 7,000 that we've had people come to us with inquiries and wanting our services, but maybe we're not necessarily there yet. So we're gaining momentum. Our biggest issue is that people don't know that our service exists. So once they find out, like a service like ours, it's not necessarily right away, but it's when that need comes up. And maybe a homeowner will sign up because they're going on vacation, or maybe it's like their second home in Flagstaff and they're coming home on Friday, leaving Scottsdale on Friday, and that's when the can needs to come back. And like your point, HOA will get you $50 one time. And some of these new trash ordinances and are coming in play, especially with short-term rentals. So neighbors next door to you maybe not like it that you're an Airbnb, and one of the easiest things for them to kind of tattle on you is trash cans. So, and what we've been able to do with our client dashboard and having the photos timestamp is get our clients out of some erroneous fines, where maybe they got a fine because someone said that their can was at the curb or whatever, and we were able to show them that it wasn't the case. And it's more like a civil suit at that point. So it just matters who has more evidence. And so photos kind of trump a lot if you don't have photos. So that helps. And we're just kind of taking this weekly chore of a household chore that people didn't really think that there was a, company to do it for, and now bringing that to the limelight. Ideally, I would like anyone who has a landscaper and a pool company to have a Cam Monkey. It's kind of the same concept. We're in this world of do it kind of for me. And if, we were looking to take things off your plate and less responsibility, and here's a solution for you.
I love it. So many different ways I want to go and questions I want to ask. Let's start here though. You have a background in sales. And did you have any more entrepreneurial dreams growing up, or you're like, hey, I'm just going to ride this corporate sales wave, and then all of a sudden you have this opportunity, you're like, I want to join this team and blow it up?
Yeah, so I was a W-2 employee, basically my whole, adult career, working in title and escrow here in Phoenix. And I thought I was going to ride the corporate ladder, to your point. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I was good at what I did. I built a name for myself after about 10 years of doing it. I had some good clients that, were respected and it was, it worked out really well. I never thought I was going to leave until, this thing called the pandemic happened, and I couldn't really do that anymore. But the funny thing is, going back a little bit, I remember going to a bachelor party in 2019, and I was one of the guys that was on the trip was watching the show Billions, and with Axelrod, and I just remember thinking that's really cool that he can buy these companies and manipulate them or make them better. So on a side note, when Camel Monkey was presented to me at anything, I thought it was gonna be my Bobby Axelrod moment. I was like, oh, I can manipulate this company a little bit, help with the sales, see what happens, but still be W-2. That's what I wanted. I wanted to. I was already an executive, assistant vice president. I was already kind of moving up that way. And, but yet the pandemic happened, and, being in sales at that time, you couldn't really meet with anyone, and it was kind of hard, and no one was really buying houses. It was just kind of a weird moment from that March to May, where I got laid off in May. But during that time when I couldn't do anything, I started putting more focus to Cam Monkey, and we were probably about 250 properties at that time. And I remember we had just gotten a client, Turnkey, who now got bought out by Vacasa, but Turnkey had signed up about 75 properties with us at that time, right before March. And it was just our first, oh my gosh, there's a property manager out there that has this many. We really didn't know anything about the short-term rental industry. We didn't know that this was really across the country. Unbeknownst to us, Scottsdale is the short-term rental mecca. It is everyone, so it really helped us gain momentum here and kind of show us what was possible. And during the pandemic, and after I got laid off, I went more in with, Cam Monkey. And that's when, we started having the thought process of, okay, if I'm not doing the routes anymore, because we figured out how to outsource it to our can runners. And it's look, if I'm not doing the route in Peoria, why couldn't I do a route in Park City? Why couldn't I do a route in Austin, Texas? Why don't we just do that? Let's try it. And if, that comes from the mindset of meeting with Turnkey, because then we're oh my gosh, this company's in multiple markets. And it's they need us for their 70 properties here. They probably need that in other markets. And so once we really figure out how to get the systems and processes in place and leverage our technology that we had at the time and get it to work for us. I was flying out to these markets, and I was, setting it up and trying to see okay, how do I do this, not do this at the next market? How do I not fly out? Cause I was thinking if I'm going to be in 100 cities, I can't fly to 100 cities, so I was how do I get to a point where I don't have to fly there? So we kind of just methodically just started keep doing things. And I call myself a delusionally optimistic person, and I just thought I was gonna be able to do it. We were doing it. People are saying you can't do it. Call me when you get to 500 properties. Call me when you get to 1,000 properties. And I just had this chip on my shoulder. I'm all right, we're gonna do it. And there's no other companies doing what we're doing. Like I said, we were the first can to curb service provider. They created a category for us when we did our trademarks and copyright. So we literally created this niche. People who are doing it were cleaners. That's not their niche though, right? They're cleaners. We're the first to own this, to be the expert of taking out trash cans.
Man, I love that. So I want to talk to you about how you found your business partner. What was that relationship? Because I think a lot of people want to get into business with someone. Because entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey, especially if you're doing it solo. whether you're looking to partner on a deal with real estate or even just partner on a deal or a business together. What are the things that you look for? But before we go into that, what was that relationship between you and your current business partner?
So Mark and I got acquainted or connected when I was 22, when I had just graduated college. And he's about 16 years older than me. So he was one of those first guys in my life, like first mentor, before I even knew what he was, just kind of like showing me what's possible. I remember like one time, like when I was working for him, like he would let me like cash the checks and go to the bank and like cash the checks. And like he had like a stick shift, like Porsche 911, and let me drive the Porsche 911 to cash the checks. So it was like one of those like kind of bigger vision kind of like individuals. And then, and we were, I worked with him for like 9 months, and then I went into the title and escrow industry, and I would go there and I would always come back and kind of like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. And so he was always like still in my life, even though I wasn't working with him. Like, I always like viewed like his point of view and what I was doing in my career at the time.
Did he start another business prior?
So he owned a clothing line company. He was the only distributor in North America for a French clothing line company. And so when I was working with him, like I was like a person in the background that would like get the orders together. So it was just kind of like a fun side job that I was doing like right out of college before I got into like my career into real estate. So I kind of like graduated from him, but still like stayed acquainted. And then when he started Cam Monkey with someone else initially, that's when he told me about it, because we were still connected. And so for me, he was always like a mentor, like I said. So like he had like the business knowledge that I didn't have. But now what I thought I had over that last 8 years was like corporate knowledge. Like maybe I don't know how to start a business, but I know how to like get sales going. I know how like at a larger scale what you need. So like what I knew, he didn't know, but what he knew, I knew. And I think ultimately I knew what he could do. So that for me was like confidence, and I knew how hard he had worked. And so like it's like if I was putting 80 hours in a week and he's putting 80 hours in a week, we're putting 160 hours a week in that, and that's kind of like how he was and that's how I was. So I already knew that kind of going into that partnership with him.
No, that's awesome. And would you say like he's more of like the visionary and you jumped in and you're like, hey, I'm the integrator here. I'm going to take this to the next level because you have that skill set?
Opposite. So I'm the visionary. Yeah, I'm the one.
Okay.
I'm the one that it's like not all my ideas, but it's like I'm the one that's like what if, and he's more like the integrator. And that's where I think that we even in the beginning. So you can go back like when I was like getting into Cam Monkey with him, his original business partner got out of Cam Monkey, and so I kind of took over that guy's place and said, look, let's do this. And so at first it was kind of like it was hard because it was like it was his, right? And so like I would say things and it was like no, like I trump you, and it took a while to like even the vacation rental, that was all me. And he's like, no, we're doing homeowners. I'm like, what do you mean? Like because in real estate, I was working with investors because I didn't want to work with a real estate agent who maybe gave me one deal a month. I'd rather work with a real estate agent who had 10 deals and they could give me 10 deals a month, or you get like a Pace Morby who's giving you like 50 deals a month, So I'd rather work with someone like that because it's more like volume. And so that's how I was thinking as this way, like, let's get the volume of the business. So, so like he's more like the dots my I's, cross my T's. Like I make this, there's this analogy of like entrepreneurship is jumping off the cliff and building the airplane while you're falling. And that's me. And I feel like he's a little bit more like, wait, I'm not ready yet. So he's like, and I'm more like, okay, we'll figure it out. And, you kind of have to have both. You need someone to push the envelope. You need someone to be like, wait, chill. So you need that yin and yang. Right. You can't have someone that's like you.
You want someone that can jump out the plane and figure it out on the way down, but you want someone that make sure your parachute's on when you jump out.
1,000,000%, and make sure that it's all great. And so that's why if you have that, then you have a little bit of combination of both. And I'm sure it can still work out with someone's like you, but you also don't want anyone always agreeing with you. So when
Yeah.
he has ideas, not that I always go against it, but if I have ideas, he'll poke, and you need that. You can't always be like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Like you need to have someone that's kind of a little bit different than you, but share the same vision of where you guys are going.
100%. So talk to me about starting off. I'm sure there was some road bumps. We don't like to call them failures. We'll call them L's, learning lessons. So what kind of learning lessons did you have as you were scaling KMonkey?
So the first one was the first market that we expanded out of from Phoenix, which was Austin, Texas. And we probably had 150 properties in Phoenix at that time. After, this is like, end of 2020. So almost after 2 years, we got to 150 properties. And then Turnkey in Austin gave us 150 properties from the get go. So I was like, we literally just doubled our business in one day, which took us 3 years to get to. And so that was like a really like aha moment. But what I didn't fly out to Austin, and we got those 150 properties and we lost it. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
damn it. And so it was really upsetting. But then when we got the opportunity to go to Park City, I'm like, I'm flying out there. I'm gonna make sure we don't do this. I'm gonna do everything that we didn't do in Austin.
So,
And
so
we thought
dive in. What happened in Austin where they're like, we're going to go with someone else or don't need your service?
it was where we were trying to do what we're doing now, but we did it way too early, thinking that we could just hire someone in another market and that they would just take the cans to the curb and just and do it. And this was like we didn't have our technology what we have now, and this was like when we were like calling people off Facebook, and it was like, hey, I need you to download this app, and then download this app, and then download this other app, and then you're gonna use like 5 apps to do this because there's no app for our business. Like maybe the closest thing would be like a courier, but that's not us. Like we're building a route. So our first couple months, like our first month out there was just horrible. And so they're just like, you guys don't have it ready. Like, let me know when you guys are ready. So it was like humbling. But then when we got to we used that company again in Park City, and I'm like, I'm flying out there. And when we were able to let them know, their operations know that we could do it in Park City, they gave us the opportunity again in Austin. So we ended up getting it back in Austin, but Austin could have been our second market, is actually our third market. So, but we took those calls. Then I flew out to Austin and did the same thing. And then when we got to a point of being really comfortable of, running operations, not in that market per se, then it was like, okay, I'm not flying out to this market and see how it works. And then you do that. And then once you do that, you just kind of replicate it.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the outsourcing aspect and trying to find, great people who can fulfill. It's a very simple service and it's, probably lower pay. So how do you vet and make sure, that type of employee or contractor, whatever you call them, is able to, actually fulfill on what you guys need?
No, 1,000%. And at first we thought it'd be really hard to find can runners, is what we call them. There are can runners, but unbeknownst to us as well, there's this whole thing called the gig economy. There's Uber, Grubhub, Instacart, GoPuff. There's plenty of platforms out there that are way bigger than us, doing things way harder than taking cans to curb. So really, when these individuals find out about a service like taking trash can to the curb, I've been doing that my whole life, and you're going to pay me a minimum of $20 an hour, and all I got to do is take some cans to the curb. Sign me up. And what's different about us than these other gig economy jobs is that CamMonkey provides persistent and consistent routes. So every week is the same week of trash. So I build a route almost like, say a bartender goes to the bar. They have their schedule for the week. Hey, I can't go out that night because I'm working at the bar. Like that's kind of what we do. Like, hey, here's your routes. We're all creatures of habit. If someone's good at a route and they like that route, they want that route again. They want to know the little idiosyncrasies of that route. Oh, I know that property, I can cut through that area and beat the time that they give me. So we'll give them a route and they'll say, hey, Jesse, this has 18 stops, 3 miles total drive, and it'll take you an hour and 5 minutes, and I'll pay you $29. Do you accept? And you say, yeah, I'll make $30 for an hour of work. And usually these gig drivers are already doing other gigs. So it's like Uber in the morning during the rush hour, people going to work. Then it's Grubhub at night, when people are eating their food and doing happy hours. And then during that daytime, they have kind of the downtime. And that's where CamMonkey can give them 1, 2, 3 routes where they can do 1 to 3 hours total, whatever they're looking to do. Take some cans to the curb. They don't have anyone in their car talking their ear off. They don't have stinky food in the car. And they can just get out of the car and work, walk with their legs and, kind of get out instead of just sitting down all day. So some of them really love it. Now we have thousands and thousands and thousands of can runners on our platform, and we've gotten so much feedback, and it's not hard, but you're right. There is a process of kind of vetting them out. And we've now gone through that process. We have questionnaires that we ask before they come through. We have an abundance of can runners. So at that point, like, we don't necessarily are never like in need for someone. So for like, if we want to try someone out, we'll try them out. If they don't run the route at a certain time, we give the route to someone else. We have all these different contingency plans in place, and so many can runners now, because like in Phoenix alone, we have 2,000 properties. We have hundreds of routes. So if one route falls off, someone else will take it, and then they'll get an extra $5 bonus or $10 bonus. Now they're making an extra $10 an hour for taking some cans to the curb.
You created like the ultimate freelance, experience. Like you just said, Uber in the morning, CanMonkey, and then, Grubhub. That's actually really cool. I love that. Especially someone who's younger, like college age kids, or, just starting their careers. You want to make extra money. It's a no brainer.
People are going from how do I make 50, 60 grand a year to how do I make $200 to $400 a day. And with the gig economy, a lot of these individuals are doing it. And so with CamMonkey, you're going to know, okay, I'm making $250 a week from this 5 routes I'm doing with them. That's an extra $1,000 a month. Okay, cool. And that's going to take that's nothing. And then they can do that whenever. $1,000 pays their rent. $1,000, $500 pays their car payment. So it's like we're getting in this world where people are doing these other jobs, to help make extra income because they need it.
All right. No, I love what you're creating opportunities for people, and great opportunities as well. I want to dive into how are you scaling? I think I asked you, have you raised capital? And I think you said no, but I think also you mentioned that you have investors. So walk me through that process. What does that look like? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So we haven't necessarily raised any money. We do have another investor that came in right before the pandemic, literally March 18th, or, we got the check and the world shut down, and they came in, and that was enough to, come in and help us get through the pandemic and kind of go to those other markets. We have gone through the process of looking and meeting with, different VCs and private equity. A lot have found us very, they come to us and kind of, so we put a deck together and have gone through that process. But we're at a point now in our business where we do have this monthly recurring revenue. We're able to control our spending on the outcome, and we know what we're bringing in. It's a good business to have in that aspect. I kind of look at other businesses that don't have that. I'm like, how do they operate? That must be, freaky, knowing that you have payroll and you don't know, you hope people pay that, for your service that month. And so for us, it's nice knowing that if we add on another 300 properties this month, we're adding on an extra 300 times $50, And so, if we keep our costs the same, besides paying the can runners, you're making X profit. So it's kind of good in that, business model where you can control your growth a little bit more, and helped us not really have to raise capital. Like, if we had capital, would that be awesome? Like, yeah, of course. But I also can see how businesses who have too much money go broke and fail still, because if you have money, it's easy to fix problems because you throw money at it. When you have no money, you have to create solutions. So we've created solutions because we had no money. And now those solutions and processes helped us get to the point now where we still don't need to raise money. But once again, would it be nice to raise $5 million and deploy that and put some TV ads and commercials and see how we grow even faster? Of course. But at the same time, we've been able to grow the way we've been able to grow, double year over year so far. We just made the Inc. 5000 list for one of the fastest growing private companies in the Southwest region. So we're doing it, right? And so we're going to hold off until we absolutely need to. But at the same time, it's nice to have a business that, we know that if we hit 10,000 properties, we're bringing in this much. It's 15,000 properties, 100,000 properties. It's nice to know that, like, okay, all we need to do is get some more properties under management, and this is the revenue we're going to bring in, and deploy our other services that we have, like on-demand trash removal, can cleaning, and then who knows, we are a logistical technology company now. So it's like, what if we add some other services, since we're already able to make these routes and we're already at these properties, and I already have all this data on the back end, and
I'm sure that helps with the valuation right there, having that SaaS aspect.
1,000%. And so we didn't know what we were getting into. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we learned after meeting with these VCs is that, we've really built something that is unique, obviously, but it makes us feel like now that there's light at the end of the tunnel. At first you don't know when you start a company what's going to happen. You start, putting money into it, and you're like, is this even worth it? Am I losing everything? Especially, taking trash cans to the curb and back, especially when I had a good career. My mom starts, maybe you shouldn't, go back in title. Maybe you should go get, you have kids, and you start getting that doubt. Not that people mean to, it's logical. And so, like I said, you have to be kind of a delusionally optimistic person to be like, no, I'm going to figure it out. Like, thank you for your, caring, but I'm going to do this. Watch. And kind of have to be your own cheerleader and keep telling yourself that's going to work, and celebrate the little wins. And so when they do happen, you realize that you're in the right, path. And I think for us, just having those properties on subscriptions, like that's what, was my goal. Like, okay, 500 properties, 1,000, 1,500, mm-hmm. 2,500, like 3,000. Okay, 5,000. Like, so we're always having our goals. And as long as you keep moving that benchmark, obviously, because, I'm never content, but I'm always happy. But I always know where I want to be. So I'll be happy when I'm there too. But I'm sure that at the top of every mountaintop is like the base of the next mountain. So you got to always be pushing it.
Gotta love MRR too.
Yes. And that's like, honestly, I don't think I would ever get in another business that doesn't have MMR or MRR, because it's like, you really, it's a controlled revenue that you really can add on to. And it's, yeah.
100%. Talk about marketing. How have you guys marketed in the beginning, and then what are you doing now? And then if someone was to give you $1 million and you were told to spend that on marketing, how would you do that?
Marketing for us right now has been very limited. It's literally me. It's, on LinkedIn, it's me doing the social media. So it's not as good as it could be. And I'll be the first one to say that, we could definitely have a marketing team that can make this even better. What has really helped for us is, going to these conferences where, vacation rental managers in the short-term rental industry are going, and making these connections, and really partnering with people, and getting an opportunity to kind of showcase our service. And I think the fact that we've been able to be so persistent and consistent with our service, because if we were not doing a good job, then people would, wouldn't be signing up and staying on. So it's the fact that we're doing what we're saying we're doing, and we're continuing doing it, that it's giving people more and more confidence, because it's like, all right, well, if they're helping them in this market, they're going to help me. And so now it's getting to a point now with our brand and the marketing that we're doing, is that it's now kind of speaking for ourselves. So at first it was like me, Alex Shapiro, if I didn't do the call, if I didn't do the push, or it wouldn't happen. And now it's like we're getting inquiries all the time. Like, we've gotten articles written on us from the Business Insider, like I said, the Inc. 5000. So it's getting out there naturally, so, which is super nice. If we got $1 million and how we would do marketing, I think doing like TV ads, radio ads, as much as we go after the short-term rental industry right now, like 100% of my effort probably goes after short-term rental industry. It's 80-20 split of 80% short-term rentals, 20% homeowners. So it's telling you that even though 100% of my efforts go after short-term rentals, I'm still getting 20% of homeowners, because we are at these properties so consistent that homeowners see it. what's that neighbor taking that? Who's taking that can to the curb? Why are all these cars going there? And they like start, questioning. And then they go over there, talk to the neighbor. The neighbor
Are
says,
these
"Can
drug
monkey."
drop-offs?
Yeah, what's going on? Taking the cans to the curb? Like, what the hell? And then they get jealous. They're like, well, I got to take my can to the curb. I don't want to do that. And so then they sign up. And so our churn rate with homeowners is like less than 1%. It's like less than, once you get someone to take your can to the curb, you don't go back to take your can to the curb. So it's like once you sign up, like you're not going back to it. And so we've been able to just build it from word of mouth, from referrals, from people saying, "Oh my God, you got to try this," this company. A lot of it now is also like elderly adults, paying for their parents that are like 75, 80 in different states. Oh, they live on when it was wintertime and the snow, and they don't want them to slip on the driveway or whatever it may be. There now is a solution for them. Like before, there was no solution. Like if you didn't have cleaners like you do at your property, there's not really a lot of solutions like that. So if you're in a situation where it's a dire situation because you don't want your grandmother to slip and fall, then here comes Cam Monkey, for $49 a month, saving the day.
That's it? $49 a month?
$49 is what we're starting at for one trash, one recycling can. So our prices go up if you have like multiple. Like some of these Airbnbs have like 5, 6 trash cans. Some of them are like on super long hills, like think about Camelback Mountain. So there might be an additional like $5 charge here and there, but for the most part, yes, starts at $49 per property.
That's awesome. Talk to me about the other services that you're looking to integrate.
So right now we have our on-demand trash removal. We're at the property so often that we're able to track what's going on. Sometimes there's bags on the ground after a large stay. Some Airbnbs only have one trash can. They overflow. So when we're there, we take photos. You get real-time notifications on our client dashboard. So we'll let you know, hey, Jesse, this property has extra trash on the ground. Would you like us to remove this for you? You say yes. We'll go send another team out there and remove all the trash bags for you. We also offer monthly or quarterly can cleaning subscription. Some of these cans get really stinky, especially in our markets in Florida where people are cooking fish and it's hot and mold. It gets really stinky. So I think when you have an Airbnb and you're more like a hotel now, every little thing kind of matters. And so trash is something that they're touching. Some people get judged on everything, and some people complain about everything. Like we see it. So, it's just one of those things that we're just trying to be your one-stop shop for all your trash solutions. And so here in the Phoenix market, we're dabbling into maybe helping out some hosts and owners with some other household tasks. Maybe like they might need an inspection, a pre-guest inspection. Maybe they have a back-to-back. Maybe the house has been vacant for a week, and they just want to make sure that the lights and the code still works. And so we're starting to get into this like little like not handyman like task rabbit stuff, but a little bit like, hey, we already have a route going. If there's something that we can stop by, sometimes they get asked us to like put packages in, like, hey, there's a package at my front door. Can you put it in my garage? So we're just trying this out and seeing maybe we could do something along those lines where since we already have can runners going to routes, maybe we can say, hey, Jesse, when you're at this property, you put that package in the garage, we'll give you an extra $5. And they're like, oh, I'll do that. And then now the client's paying us $15. So how do we add other services and not take advantage, but take advantage of the fact that we're already at these properties sometimes 16 times a month? How do we take advantage of those routes that we already have operational? And so that's something that we're kind of trying out. But really, I'm a big believer. And this is from my real estate background, like, the one thing. So like my one thing is Cam Monkey. That's my one thing. If I wasn't good at Cam Monkey, it wouldn't get my foot in the door into other opportunities. Like if I wanted to do on demand, like there's junk removal companies all over the place. I'd be a dime a dozen, but there's no other Cam Monkeys. So like that's my one thing that now lets me do other things. But you don't have to have your one thing. You have to be an expert at it. And that is what I stay true at. And especially in the beginning when we weren't like making any money, my business partner and I, we didn't make any money for the first like three or 4 years. And just to put in something so much, so, to get to the point where it's at now, you have to focus on that one thing. Cause I could have been like, okay, screw this. It's not making me any money. I'm going back into life insurance, or I'm going back in title and escrow. But I just stayed true to that one thing. And that's what I'm saying, like earlier, like now there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like now I'm not crazy.
I'm so guilty of having that, like, I got something going. I'm like, okay, this is going. And then I see something else. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
the girl in the red dress. Oh, what's that? I like that over
Right.
there.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shoot. Now I'm letting this down. And then I'm doing everything average. And so it's so important, especially as an entrepreneur who's, just starting out. Once you figure it out, like, I think there's shiny object syndrome, I think kind of has a couple different meanings. I think when people just get started, shiny object syndrome is normal. Go throw everything at the wall and see what you like, see what sticks. But then once you pick something and you're getting some traction, don't get distracted by everything else out there, because there's going to be so many distractions. Once someone sees you being successful, they're like, oh, I want to partner with this one. Here's opportunity, here's opportunity, here's opportunity. And I'm sure you saw that. So I love that you mentioned that book, and it is so true.
No, and you're 1,000,000% right. You kind of do have to try those other things, and that's in that time. But like that's what I'm saying. It was such a blessing in the pandemic, because I would never left title and escrow. That was my one thing, and I did dabble into CanMonkey. I was like, hey, I'll try this. So I dabbled into it, but it was never like going to be my one thing. Like if I was still in title, the pandemic never happened. Like I'm not saying CanMonkey wouldn't have been where we're at now, but I would not put my focus on it, because my focus was on title and escrow. I was getting a salary. I was getting commission. That was like my money to pay my family. Like that was my one thing. CanMonkey was just something that on the side that I was just kind of, being like, it was my Bobby Axelrod. What could I manipulate a little bit? It was only until I got fired from time, I had nothing else. I was like, screw it. But even that point, during the pandemic, I was like, I think everyone was day trading. I was day trading. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be a day trader forever. So I would even catch myself like, hey, what are you doing? You doing day trading? You're doing this, like you have to kind of pick something. And I was like, okay, I can day trade from 6:30 in the morning to 10 o'clock. And then I'll do, CanMonkey from 10 to 3. And then I'll do, this to this. And I was like, okay, well, that's not working anymore. And I don't really want to do day trading. That's too like, I'm going CanMonkey, And so like, I finally had to just pick one thing. I had 3 things at once. I had like 5 things at once. I was like, oh, I'm going to do it all. The average millionaire has several sources of income. I'm going to have it all. And it's like, no, man, they have one income that does really good. And then that one income helps them get the other incomes. So I got to copy from all, steal from none, and apply those things to myself. And it's so cliche, but you hear all these people talk and they say the same thing that I'm saying right now. And it's like, I feel cliche saying it, but that is what it is. Pick your one thing and just stick to it, and it's going to work. And I would think to myself, have I ever failed at anything I ever tried? I'm like, not really. Like maybe I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but I didn't fail unless I quit. But I never quit, so I never failed. So am I going to fail at this? No. And then when people said I couldn't do it, I was like, fuck you, I'm going to do it. So don't tell me I can't do it. And I still remember all those people. I have a whole receipt, in my head. But not I respect them all, but they're probably right in that moment. But I had to be believing in myself that like they were wrong, even though they're probably just being, logical in their mindset. And so, but now I just tell everyone, do it, whatever it is, just do it. Like start today, like just do it. Like I believe revenue covers all sins. So if you can get some revenue in, start that, and then get your website, then get the LLC. Don't get all the other shit first. Get the revenue first.
Gosh, I'm writing this down so I can clip that up, because that was this gold right there. I literally was on multiple calls today because we have a mastermind coming up, right? And everyone's reaching out, try to apply to be a part of the mastermind. And a lot of people, I'm like, hey, where are you at right now? Most people need clarity. And they're like, okay, well, I want to launch this business, XYZ. I'm like, what's holding you back? Well, I got to get the website. I got to do the LLC. I'm like, no. Stop. You're focusing on the wrong thing. And what I had happened to me, because I'm able to speak through experiences, I thought if I build it, they will come. It's not how it is. You get feedback, you figure out what's the need, and then you build it based on what your customers said that they need. And so that's how I've built Growth House in the community now, is doing it that way instead of the other way. So definitely a learning lesson for me there. But I want to dive into something. Oh, go ahead. You want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, like, literally today, right before this podcast, I went to the bank because I have to open up a bank account because I have a check that I got to deposit, and I haven't, for a company that I already have the LLC for like 2 years ago, that I don't have a bank account for because I didn't need it until now. So I'm like, shit, I got to deposit this check. So, like, why would I have a bank account if I didn't have any money coming in yet? like, so like, I like what you said earlier.
Absolutely. I want to ask you a question. So
Mm-hmm.
you said 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
So you have 4 kids. You're building this business. You believe in it. You say, hey, I know I'm not going to fail because I don't quit and I'm going all in. I know I'm not getting paid for these first couple of years. What was going through your head? That's got to be a tough situation. I know people, myself, single, and I'm like, dude, if I was not getting paid for 3 years, like I don't know how long I could last.
Mm-hmm.
Like, walk me through that process. It's got to be tough.
It's very tough, and the fact that if you asked me if I would do it again, I probably wouldn't, knowing what I know now. So I didn't know how tough it was going to be, and then once you're in it, you kind of get too in it, and then it's like, okay, this would all be a waste if I got out now. So now I got to see myself through. And I think everything just happens exactly how it should be. Like, I did really well in title and escrow, and I saved way too much money that I should have saved. And I didn't even know why I was saving the money when I saved it. I did really well. It was the first time I was ever actually making some really good money for a couple of years, right before the whole pandemic, before I lost it all. So like the last 3 years before the pandemic were like my best 3 years in 10 years. And I had saved so much money that, like, if I didn't do that, that wouldn't help. And then it was like, I did well, and I had some money in E-Trade, and E-Trade did well. So that helped me out a little bit longer. And then I got a job from 2021, January 21 until December. I was working for a title escrow company, um, Endpoint, and it was all remote. So I was like doing all my sales. I was doing a great job for them still, because like, look, I knew how to do it. But then I wasn't, and it was like, still the pandemic, so it's still hard. But I was able to do Camel too. So like, I had a plan B with a plan A, and I had to, because I had kids. So it's like, and then after that, I worked with a buddy that had a title and escrow company for like 4 or 5 months, and at a discount. But it was like, if I just got paid $4,000, at least the $4,000 would pay for my mortgage. Like I would break it down so much. Like, okay, this money would pay my car. This much money would pay this much, and I went from before like saving in years to like now like saving in weeks, months. Like I had to change it, but I also got to a point. It's like, okay, all my money is going to CanMonkey now, and it's like I'm not diversified. But then it's like, okay, but what if CanMonkey blows up, and then I can take all that money and then diversify it? So I got out of the mindset of my money needing to be in multiple different places, and just knowing that it was in one place. And a lot of people already have that, whether it's equity in their house or whatever. But like, a lot of people have equity in just one. So like, now on paper, like, I'm a lot more wealthy than I was in title and escrow. But in title and escrow, I was probably making more money. So it's like, you got to think about, what do you want, your net worth, or you want your annual salary? So my annual salary is not what I was making in title and escrow, but my net worth is way more than what it was in title and escrow.
I was just looking up a Warren Buffett quote while you're talking, and talking about diversification, right? And I think Warren Buffett said this: put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket closely.
Yes,
So it's
yes,
kind of what
and
you
I
ended
had
up doing.
to.
Like, I'm betting on
I
myself. This is where I'm going.
and I felt like that was great for me, because that the saying, like, burn the boat and swim to the island. It's like
Hmm.
I was too far in it, and I was like, all right, now if I back up, what are my kids going to say? Like, now if I
Hmm.
quit, how embarrassing is that going to be? They're going to remember
Hmm.
monkeys now from the failure that their dad had. So I can't have them think about monkeys as a bad thing. So I had to keep going. And like I said, like, now it all paid off. So it's like, but you don't know that in the beginning, but you just got to believe it. Obviously, because you're doing it, you believe that something good's going to happen. So you just have to kind of go with it and trust yourself.
100%. And there's only a certain amount of people that actually have those big dreams and go and chase them. And we
Hmm.
have a quote for the Growth House that says, "What's my plan B? Do my plan A better."
Yeah, I
Like,
like that.
sure,
Exactly.
we can pivot,
Hmm.
but if you have that deep burning desire in your heart, you don't want to live with that regret of saying,
Yep.
man, I wish I didn't quit. I wish I would have kept going. And let me ask you this. I have a couple quotes, and that's one of them that I'm
Hmm.
like, I remember when I'm taking these L's, these learning lessons.
Hmm. Hmm.
And even like, for example, my roof collapsed, not collapsed, my ceiling caved in because of AC leak.
Hmm.
That sucked. And I was
Mhm.
like, man, I got pissed off for about 3 seconds. And then I'm like, how do I get positive? And we actually talked about this before. That's one of your superpowers
Yep.
is that you're
Yep.
able
Yep.
to stay
Yep.
positive through, stuff that goes wrong. And for me, one of
Yeah.
my favorite quotes when stuff goes wrong is my tests will become my testimony. And for me,
Mm.
I'm going to be someone who's speaking on stages all across the country and the world. And I want to inspire other people to chase their dreams, go after that business that they want to start, and help facilitate that environment that they can learn and grow in. And so for me, I'm like, hey, you know what? This is going to be a great story to tell on stage one day. So I just embrace those tests. For you, when you're going through something that sucks, what's that quote or what do you think about?
It's kind of like I heard this one quote where it was like the bison when the storm comes, cows will run away and they'll get stuck in the dirt, and then the bison just go right through the storm. So it's like one of those things like you just got to go through it. And I always for myself, it's like I've gone through worse than this and I've survived. So this is
Mm,
nothing. And I play that soundtrack in my head where it's like I survived this. I'll get through this. Like I'm in a better position now than I was before. So like I kind of just keep everything very like realistic in my mind. Like as much as it could be not real, I try to just make it real. So I think if I start getting negative, it's like everything around me is shit. My car breaks down. It's like I feel like I'm really in tune with the universe. As crazy as that sounds, but it's like when I'm bad, I'm bad. But when I'm good things happen. I manifest, like it's like, and I know it, and I feel it, and I've seen too many things happen when I've been positive to turn out in my favor. It's like, why am I going to be negative? Because I know what happens when I'm negative, and I'm very conscious on that, and I think that's just where like I've been able to pick up on everything. So I'm like, okay, that's good. I just keep happy. Bad shit happens. But I just try to get off it because if I stay on it, I just know what's going to happen then.
mm. So good, man. So many gems. I felt like we can keep talking for another 2 hours, bro. Like we definitely going to stay connected. I'm glad that we
We
connected on
will.
Instagram and
We
now on this
will.
podcast. So let me ask you a couple last questions.
Yes.
One, our growth house motto is you become who you surround yourself with, right? And for us, entrepreneurship, it can be a very lonely journey. But if you find the right community, whether that's within
Hmm.
Growth House or it's with EO or, there's all these amazing communities out there. How much of an impact has that played in your life? And is that something where once you transition out of corporate America to start running Cam Monkey, where you're like, man, I got to surround myself with, different types of people that are more aligned with these goals that I have that maybe think bigger, etc.
Yes. And uh, your network is your net worth. I truly believe that. I was told once when I was 23, 24, and, you are who you hang out with. And you hang out with, people who are successful, you're going to be successful. So that really, plays true to me. I think when I was growing this company, it was during the pandemic. And I was really just alone. My business partner was actually in Canada through that whole process. So I would go to the Industrious office in Fashion Square, and I had a little cute. I had the smallest office in all of the whole office space, and I was by myself in this like little glass like office where everyone just saw me, and I just was there by myself building Cam Monkey by myself. And I'd call my business partner on WhatsApp app, and that was or WhatsApp, and that was it. Like it was like really lonely, and I was in a good way. I was just in my own thoughts and my own surroundings, and I was also kind of like I'm not embarrassed, but I wasn't like sure of Camp Monkey. Like we were doing it, but at the same time, like I didn't want to promote it yet because it was still like a service that we were figuring out, and it was like, and also like I wasn't confident yet as much as I am now. Like now I'm like, as confident as can be because my face is like on it, right? Like it's like I don't want someone to say like, oh, Alex, you did a shitty job. I'm like, I'm not taking your can to the curb. It's not me. I didn't miss your house. Like, like I don't want like don't bring me down. And so I was like, kind of like I was a little bit hesitant, but now like I know those collaborations and I still have all those old contacts, and I'm at the point now in my business where like, because people used to say like, oh, you should go on Shark Tank. And I was like, no, I don't want to go on Shark Tank. Like, what if like they find out about me and they're like, hey, can you service? And I can't do it, or I messed up the first time. And now like my first impression is horrible. And now they'll never use me again. And now I'm getting all these 1 star. Like I would go deep into them. Like I can't. Like, And now I'm like, okay, let's go on Shark Tank. Let's go on Oprah. Let's go on like national TV and talk about our service and see what happens. So let's break our systems now. And that's how confident I am now. So it's like I was at short-term STR Wealth conference last month in Nashville, and I ran into Pace Morby, and he was like one of the keynote speakers there. And I was like, dude, look at you. Like, and I knew obviously I'd been following him. I was like, dude, I'm so proud of you. This is the first time I saw him since like the Title and Escrow days before the pandemic. And we are just kind of chit-chatting for like 5 minutes and just kind of reminiscing on some like old deals we did. And he went up there on stage, and like the first like 2 minutes was like talking about me and Cam Monkey. And I was like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it was like, that was like really nice of him. And so it's like, not that I forgot about like collaboration. I think just for a while, like entrepreneurship is a really lonely road. And you kind of like, I lost some friends. Haven't called people. You just are in it. And especially having 4 kids, like if I'm not at the office, I'm at home. If I'm not at home, I'm at the office. Like I don't have time to hang out. Like you want to hang out, come work with me. Like a lot of, and I think a lot of people say like their friends or people they work with, it's like, you want to hang out, let's do business together. And then we'll talk all the time. But like, you want to go get beer? I can't go get beer because I'm going to go hang out with my kids. And if you want to, maybe golf every once in a while, but it's hard, and so you have to sacrifice, and I sacrifice, not hanging out with my kids right now. I'm at the office, and it's like, it gets even harder when like you start or kind of getting successful a little bit. Cause like, do I have to go? And maybe I don't have to go to the office today. My team can handle it. And it's like, no, like you're the CEO, you're the leader, you got to lead by example, so it's still that constant battle and internal thought process of like, am I doing enough? Am I doing, trying to be enough for everyone and everything. But, yeah.
No, I appreciate you opening up and just being transparent, because people need to hear these type of conversations. And I think this is one of the better podcasts where this is what the entrepreneur journey looks like. We're not going to say you're going to get rich in 6 months. It's not going to happen. And especially if you want to build something that's, long lasting. And I think I want to ask you as we wrap up is what does that look like for K Monkey? What is a 5-10 year vision? And then also for yourself, because I know personally, my face right now is attached to Growth House. Yeah. And do I want it to be that way forever? No, I want to, expand, build, maybe sell one day. It's open. It's definitely open. So what does that look like for you?
5-year plan for Cam Monkey. I believe that we could be a million properties on the platform. I don't think it's far fetched to think that 1 million people, not just in America, but in Europe and Australia, all these different Canada, all these different countries that people have reached out to us. I believe and I know we'll have 1 million properties on the platform. Million properties, $50 a month. You kind of do the math on that. That's great business. But at the same time, I come from corporate America where I got to see that kind of growth. And I'd also be very happy if we had 100,000 properties that I still own the percentage I own right now with my business partner. And we were just really confident and great in the markets that we're in. And that'd be great too. So it's like, that's the thought. Like, do we want to go VC private equity route where the business is not my business now, and now I'm just an employee again? I've already done that before. And what did I just sacrifice all these 4 or 5 years for if I just go be an employee again? And if I have a monthly recurring revenue business that can take care of me and the people that work here, and we're all, doing well, that's good for me. And I can have time with my family, and I have a business that I know, is, great, cool, and sell down the road, cool. But I think right now our goal is just to get better than we were the day before, hit the next benchmark that we want, which is 10,000 properties on the platform. Then from there, get to 25,000, 50, 100, and 1 million. And so we will get there. It's just like I said, it's just our biggest issue is that people don't know that our service exists. And the growth that we have right now in 23 states, 135 cities, has been all organic and methodical. And who knows what's going to happen when we do raise some capital, because we've been able to do that without it. The sky's the limit.
Alex, the Growth House community is a community of go-givers. We want to provide value to everyone who comes on the show. You provided a lot of value today. So first of all, thank you. I'm excited to connect with you in person.
Thanks,
and
Jesse.
When people reach out to you, what kind of value can they provide to you? Because we don't have people reaching out say, hey, can I pick your brain, Alex? We have people that say, oh, goodness, I have a connection for you that can help you XYZ, but you tell us what XYZ is so we can find those people for you.
If you know anyone that is looking to have their trash automated, taking cans to the curb, let them know about Cam Monkey. That's all I ask. We would love an opportunity to get them on one of our operational routes where we can provide them the the peace of mind knowing that that weekly task is taken care of for them. That's all I could ask for.
We'll put all the links in the bio, but real quick, how do people find you?
Alexander Shapiro on LinkedIn, Alexander Shapiro on Instagram, Facebook, cammonkey.com. Reach out if you're interested in the service we provide, and see if we're in a city of that you're in, or reach out. And we would love to get an opportunity. Reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, or not concerns, but any questions about whatever. I'm an open book, and I'm a giver too. So I feel like the more I give, I get it back. So abundance mindset. So I'm an open book for whoever is curious.
Love it. Jesse Ray, Growth House Podcast, here with the CEO of Cam Monkey, Alex Shapiro. Appreciate you, man. We're out.